Oh, very good. Santa will be there soon.
Okay, cool. Okay. If I could go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Glendora City Council for Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. For the audience here tonight, the City of Glendora utilizes a hybrid meeting format that allows participation both online and in person. In consideration of others, please silence phones and refrain from speaking unless recognized. Let the record show that all council members are here and accounted for. And then I'd like to ask the city attorney to read us into closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and any who may be viewing this meeting or participating with us. City Council has a very busy closed session agenda tonight with 4 items on its closed session agenda. The first item will be a discussion in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B to discuss filling the position of city attorney, and a concomitant closed session agenda item related to that will be closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957 to conduct an employee performance evaluation for the position of city attorney. There will be 2 real property negotiation closed sessions tonight. Both are authorized by Government Code Section 54956.8. The first will involve property whose common street address is 1762 Dale Road. And the second and first property negotiations are all identified by their assessor parcel numbers. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks, Bill. With that, I will open public comment. I see there is no one in person wishing to speak. Is there anybody online that with a raised hand?
No, Mayor.
Okay, then I will close public comment and recess us into closed session at 5:02.
You want to learn. Yeah.
Okay. We ready? You guys ready? Everybody out there ready? Okay, well, like to adjourn our closed session at 7 o'clock and convene back into open session and ask our city attorney to read us out the closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, and ladies and gentlemen. City Council, as I earlier reported, had a very busy closed session agenda, and I'm prepared to report on actions that were or were not taken in closed session. The first two items involved the consideration of a successor city attorney to the soon-to-be retiring city attorney. Tonight, during closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B, the City Council interviewed a successor candidate for city attorney and assistant city attorney position and directed that a resolution be brought back for public consideration and action in a December city council meeting to appoint a successor city attorney and a successor assistant city attorney. In terms of the real property negotiations, in both cases, they were privileged and confidential briefings. Questions were asked and answered, and no reportable action was taken. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Bill. And even though you're not going anywhere yet, and it might be a little bit off script and not agendized, I just want to extend our appreciation from the entire council and from the entire community for the service that you've given to us. And again, you're not completely going away yet, but you will be missed when you're not sitting there a couple of times a month with us anymore. So thank you. Okay, if everybody would join us in an invocation led by Pastor Bruce French, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Bob Stebbing, if you'd please rise.
Thank you for this privilege. Would you please join me in prayer? Heavenly Father, with Veterans Day this past Saturday, I want to begin by thanking you for the men and women who have served and are currently serving in the armed forces in order to protect our land and our freedoms. Would you richly bless them for their sacrifices? Please meet each of their needs emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And I pray that they'd be affirmed of their value. Along with that, I ask that you would help their family members, come alongside them, encourage them in these periods and seasons when they're apart. Additionally, I want to intercede on behalf of the men and women who serve in our police and fire departments. We are so grateful for these individuals who risk their lives in order to keep our streets safe and our lives secure. Please protect and guard them from every form of harm and grant them wisdom in their daily tasks so that their service will be effective and honoring to you, Lord. Thank you as well for our educators that you have equipped in order that our children may learn and grow. I ask you protect our students, the administrators, faculty, and staff from injury and harm. Free them from distractions that would hinder their learning and understanding. May our campuses be environments that are safe, free from worry and fear. Now tonight, will you give our city council discernment and understanding as they lead our city? And I pray that you would encourage them, affirm them, help them to know of our gratitude and our support for their tireless efforts. I pray that each of their endeavors would be honored by you, that you give them humility and understanding. And I pray that tonight that they would feel affirmed and loved by you. It's in your son's precious name that I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Patrick.
Let's say the Pledge of Allegiance together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Next up, does anyone wish to reorder the agenda or have anything to add this evening? Okay, then next I will go ahead and open public comment. Invite members of the public to address the council. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes public comment time, speaking once, both of on and off agenda items. If you're in attendance, please fill out one of the public comment cards. We've got a few of them here tonight. If you're participating via Zoom, please use the raised hand icon and you'll be called on after we've heard from everybody that's here in attendance first. So we'll go ahead and get started tonight with Patty Griffin. You get to be first. Well, I only have two right now,
You
so
only have two.
you're either
Okay.
first or last.
All right. All right. So yes, my name is Patty Griffin. I'm going to read this because I'm better at that than just, and I've been a resident of Glendora for 30 years. In all the years we've lived here, we have never had an issue with peafowl. Once in a while, we would have them in our yard and we were excited to see them. That all changed when two different neighbors began feeding them and the population exploded. We ended up with 25 birds pooping, squawking, and damaging our gardens and our property. That said, I want to thank the city council members for listening to the many residents that have been and continue to be negatively impacted by the large number of peafowl in our city. These residents are grateful for the decision to lower the peafowl population. Many of the people against lowering the population do not live with the large number of peafowl in their neighborhood. In 2021-22, our city posted signs, "Do not feed," throughout the peafowl areas. Some residents have chosen to continue feeding anyway. I believe the illegal overfeeding has caused an overpopulation in our city. And in 2010, there were 52 peafowl as per the San Gabriel Valley Examiner. So today, I believe there are over 150 peafowl. These peafowl damage cars, roofs, gardens, and they prevent residents from getting a decent night's sleep because of the screeching throughout the night. We walked door to door within our city in the areas that were impacted by the peafowl and found that there are people on both sides of this issue. So a compromise in the amount of birds seems like a fair thing to do. By bringing the flock back down to the 2010 number, those who enjoy seeing them can still do so, and those that are negatively impacted may get some relief. No one has requested all peafowl be removed, though some cities have chosen that route. In my opinion, our city council has considered both sides of this issue, and they've come up with a reasonable compromise. We enjoy the native wildlife here in Glendora, the bears, the bobcats, deer, etc., that are not encroaching on our quality of life, nor are they causing continuous property damage. Clearly, it is not the wildlife we are concerned about, but it is the feral, non-native, destructive peafowl that has become the issue. So I want to thank you all again for our city council for listening and coming up with a reasonable compromise.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you, Patty.
Uh-huh.
Next up, Bob Moore.
Saludos, Gobierno de la Ciudad. The results are in from the Los Angeles courts, and the no-cost bail program is a huge success. Only a 2.5% recidivism rate reported. This is even lower than the old posted bail system recidivism rate. A huge success for no-cost bail in Los Angeles County. I call on this body to withdraw Glendora from participating in the ill-conceived ethnocentric lawsuit it launched against this very successful no-cost bail system was launched a month ago. Now the insulin-dependent user can get back home to their life-saving medicine. Likewise, for others that are dependent on life-saving medications for themselves, their children as well. They can get back home. They can get back home to their jobs, their children waiting for them, their loved ones, their life-saving medications, the child or parent or loved one that they take care of. They can get back home to them. The single grandparent raising their grandchildren can get back home to them as there is no one else there, and the children are waiting for them to return. The unhoused resident can get back to their few but most important possessions in their life. They can now make arrangements prior to their arraignment. That's all this program is about, and you want to deny them that. The same thing that the rich have always had and enjoyed. You're elected public servants. You're supposed to inform the public of new programs, not whip up hysteria by way of propaganda and disinformation. unfortunately platformed by corporate media, which are suspiciously silent on the huge success of no-cost bail in LA County. This body standing outside on the front lawn of the city hall, yelling and screaming, "The sky is falling, the sky is falling." The use of the word safety is a racist dog whistle. If the court said that they were doing away with all bail to ensure safety, you would be in court arguing just the opposite side, to reinstate bail, reinstate rich privilege. So it has nothing to do with safety. This lawsuit has no legal merits, no legal argument to make, except you can't trust those with little resources. And that's bigotry. This lawsuit is a canard, a fraud, and a waste of our taxpayer money, our resources that we need for our community. What you did was public malfeasance. Better yet, subsidize those families and individuals that would qualify for reduced water rates from the city, similar to the CARES program offered by the county. People have told me that they pay more than their water, than their gas utility. The implementation of this new subsidy program for those that qualify would immediately help your constituents in your districts. A new zeitgeist in 2023. People want humane, innovative approaches to societal inequality and issues of inequity. They reject more carceral jackboot justice approaches. Buenos noches a todos.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, I don't have any other cards. Is there anyone here in person wishing to speak? Is there anybody on Zoom with a raised hand icon?
No, Mayor, there isn't.
Okay, well, I will go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to council for comments. But before we do that, Adam, you want to address the process for the PFOW trapping? That give us a little bit of an update.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Pleasure to be here with you this evening. So council provided staff direction to first perform a census to find a vendor and then reduce the overall population to approximately 50 birds. We have finalized the terms of the agreement, got all the I's dotted and T's crossed, sent out noticing to the residents in the various areas of which the two main groups of peafowl live. We are currently in the process of doing the count. And then when that's finalized, we will begin the process of placing at an individual's request the cage on their property, and those birds are relocated in a humane fashion. So one of the questions we get just really quick is, why are the cages so big? And it's because they are humanely trapped and relocated. So those sanctuaries where the peafowl will be located are in various areas of the state of California.
And when the census is done, again, there's nothing scientific about counting birds, but when it's done, will the number that we have be made public?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. That's it. Okay. Comments? Anybody? Michael, you want to go?
Thank you, Gary. So at the COG, on two different situations, one and the environmental subcommittee that I sit on, we had talked about an annual letter that we send to the state of California enforcing or giving our support for environmentally, I guess, secure and safe ways of moving forward without, I guess, fossil fuels and things of that nature. However, this year we took a little different stance. Not only did we go ahead and do that, but we also put in there that it has to be economically feasible with whatever they end up doing, and not just simply going off a cliff and saying we're going to go down this direction no matter what. And so we're able to get that language put into this, and hopefully it'll, 31 cities has a little bit of weight moving forward. So I think twice before they go off on some legislation that affects us financially. We had a really robust discussion, and it took quite some time, but we're able to finally get that language put into it. And the COG is a pretty powerful organization, and we typically get listened to. So that was a really good situation. The second one is the digital cliff. We live here in the foothills. You want to put a digital antenna up, good luck. You're not going to probably get much. And in 2009, when we switched over to the digital, it's either you kind of get the stations, or you don't get them. And so the COG was able to put together a technological paper showing how many people or residents and homes were affected negatively by not having coverage with the repeaters, because we're up at Mount Wilson And they have such blackout areas that they don't have coverage. So there's on our consent calendar this Thursday, we're going to be voting on it. It's going to go through. That's going to be sent to all the broadcasters and the FCC and to members of Congress to fix this issue with putting repeaters up in other areas so it will broadcast back into the foothills. And so it'll hopefully save some folks on their cable bills, satellite bills and the like, as opposed to having to pay extra just to get basic TV. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. David?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to acknowledge the wonderful ceremony that we enjoyed Saturday in honor of Veterans Day, and certainly recognize our veterans, their families, the ones that are still serving, and the families that still need help. So let's not forget those that served us and the mission many of those families are still on. I'd like to report on an exciting, at least I feel it is, exciting success of one of our Glendorans. Many of us have possibly heard that at St. Lucy's Priory High School, they've started last spring in 2022, a new sport. So they're now in their second competitive year of a sport that's very new and unusual in an urban environment, but it's the California's first all-female scholastic clay target shooting team. And it's at St. Lucy's. A great result of being able to diversify a sport that typically doesn't include an all-female team, but also a female team made up of tremendous scholars. So this team is championed and led by a junior, Lola Fitzgerald, who inspires the team to, in addition to maintaining their stellar academics, to learn, to grow, train, and compete in the world of sporting clays, a clay target shooting event. The introduction to this sport, again, in the urban environment is most remarkable. Typically, you might see those not in Southern California, but out in more rural or farming or areas like Montana, Idaho, things like that. So it's rather neat that they're here. Despite all these challenges, the team practices several times a week at the LA Gun Club over in Whittier and Pico Rivera area and at local ranges. They're actually coached by parents, and a former Olympian, Kim Rohde, lends her expertise, and watching her shoot and teach is quite remarkable. A recognition tonight also goes to a unique young lady who started this program. Her name is Lola Fitzgerald. Lola competed most recently at the Junior World Skeet Championships and Mini World Championships at a national range in San Antonio. She duplicated her feat of as a consecutive world champion in her age group. Was going to go to the Worlds, but made the right choice for her age right now. She had to come home and go back to school. And take care of academics, which is very important. So I commend this school and the team for their unique sporting event and their opportunities. And I suspect we'll see some of those names in future Olympics. And it's nice that they bring great news and great notoriety back to Glendora. So thank you.
Thanks, David. Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to remind everyone this Friday night is the holiday stroll. It may be a little wet, so just plan accordingly. Take your umbrella, wear your rain boots, but it is sure to be a great evening once again. And then this is our last meeting before Thanksgiving, and just hope for everyone that you will have much to be thankful for. I know I am thankful for this community, the people and their involvement in the community, the level of volunteerism, the tremendous city staff we have. It is a safe community, and we have beautiful foothills, the South Hills, so many wonderful things to do in our community. So the list could go on and on of what we could be thankful for. So I hope you will find much to rejoice in, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Karen. Mendel?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to echo what was just said. 41 days until that special day comes. Hard to think that Christmas will be here that soon, but the stroll is going to be great. Hope that you can come out and enjoy that night, and make sure that you shop here. A lot of people need that. Hard to think that in 47 days, the end of the year. I don't know about you, but time is flying, and man. And Karen said this on the 23rd. We'll pause and give thanks, and we have so much to give thanks for. And so I hope that each of us do that and think of the many things that are here, that are in our lives, that we can give thanks for. And on the 3rd, lastly, I was able to attend the 60th year of Foothill Christian School. They are a prominent school here in town and celebrated 60 years, and saw a lot of their students sing and do artwork, and had a wonderful night of just praising them for the history that they've had, the students that they've shaped. And so I just want to give a shout out to each one of them, and thank you to Mr. G who heads that up. So thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mendel. I put a list together, and it seems like there've been so many things happen the last couple of weeks, and so I'm going to go through these very quickly, but I do want to highlight a couple of them. Just in the last couple of weeks since our last meeting, we had the Glendora Rotary Club and Glenkirk Church got together with a group of community volunteers and packaged 30,000 meals for people in need over at Glenkirk's the old gym. And it's pretty cool to see an entire community come together and do something like that. We followed up the same day. We had the Halloween Carnival down at Finkbeiner Park. Followed a couple of days later, the Halloween Walk, where we had, I don't know how many thousands of little kids running around the village, and they're always welcome to Glendora, as they have been for a number of years. Then we turned around, the Coordinating Council distributed 250 holiday baskets for families in the community that the volunteers in that group got together and put them, led by Stephen Flowers was the chair of that committee this year. Being able to do that. We also, we recognize a number of volunteers at our library this week. We recognize students over at Whitcomb High School. But some of the cool things that have really happened between last meeting and this one, we had a number of visitors here from Mocha, Japan, from our sister city. And we go back and forth where our students visit there and they visit us. Karen's been involved in this for a number of years. Her daughter was extremely involved in helping to get this started back up again. And kudos to her for COVID has interrupted so many amazing things that we've been able to do in person. So it was nice to get that started back up again. And I wanted to share, Karen, I'll let you pull that out of there so that I don't drop it. Because they actually brought us a gift. This is from a facility that's in a neighboring city. So it's some ceramic samples of ceramic stuff that they do. And as is tradition with the Japanese, they always come bearing gifts. And they brought us some, what do you call this?
And Mocha, that's one of the things they're known for is their fabric. And this potter is world renowned for their pottery, and you can maybe see from there the intricacy and design inside and on the sides. So beautiful work.
But it's just pretty cool to have that relationship and to be able to exchange and share different cultures with each other. We also, a lot of people may not know this, but at Glendora High School this last week, there's a group of students from the high school actually created an experiment that got launched in one of the SpaceX, it's a SpaceX CRS-29 mission, that we have an experiment created by students here in the city of Glendora that's on its way right now. It probably is there by now. I don't know how long it takes to get there, but on its way to the space station, in which they've come up with this idea of trying to figure out, we all know mushrooms grow in unique environments. And so they create an experiment to find out if you can actually grow mushrooms in space. So that experiment will be going on for a while. We'll get an update with it, but it's pretty cool that we got students right here in town that do those types of things. I do want to ask about something. We've had an issue, and I want to ask Adam if it would be possible for us to get on a future agenda an update on our policy when it comes to trimming trees around streetlights.
Sure.
We had some issues in a couple of neighborhoods, and we found that our current ordinance may not be exactly what we think it should be. So it
Yes.
would be possible to have that, and we'll get an update and have that discussion.
Yeah, and if it's okay with the council, part of our strategic plan is updating our forestry manual, which has all kinds of rules and regulations about trimming trees around streetlights, all of which are in the public right of way, not on private property. But I think the intention is still the same all the way around. So happy to come back at a future council meeting with an update and policy talk on that.
Okay, appreciate it. And then another event that took place, we had our trail days. And for years, the trails, anybody that are hikers, you've been up in the trails. Karen spends a lot of time up there. I know. I like to as well. In trail days, we get a number of volunteers that come out and help clean the trails and cut the brush back. And with all the rain we had last year, it's been a big project this year. But a few months ago, we lost a Glendora resident, and I asked that we wait until now to remember him. A gentleman by the name of Bob Veerhoff was involved in the trail days for as long as I can remember. Bob was a business owner here in town. He was an insurance and owned an insurance office. Him and his wife Kara were involved in a lot of different community things. Bob was a Rotarian, so he was involved in a lot of community activities that way. But the big thing that was his passion is he made sure that the people, when they came off of the trails, he organized a lunch for them every time we had a trail day volunteer event. So as the people came down off, they had hot dogs ready, fruit, chips, and drinks and things that they needed. And so we lost Bob on August 17th this year. The unfortunate thing is his wife Carol passed just a few months before him. She passed away on April 17th. So we lost two pretty good community members. And so I'm going to ask that we adjourn in Bob's memory this evening. And we will do that at the end of our meeting. And thanks everybody for that. Adam, anything else to add? Okay. Let's see, then next up, our item number 6 is a public hearing. Public hearing is for Cornerstone Bible Church Expansion Project, file number PLN 20-0007. The applicant is BGW Architects. The property owner is Cornerstone Bible Church. And I believe Mark Carnahan is going to give us a report. Welcome, Mark.
Hello.
Oh, and we'll declare the public hearing open.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mark Carnahan, City Planner. Cornerstone Bible Church has been a part of the community since the 1930s. It has received multiple entitlements over the years, and the church desires to expand and make improvements to the various properties. They've been looking at doing this project since, at least with city involvement, since 2016, and has been working with the neighbors, city staff, and planning commission on various concepts and application versions. This evolution of the project has produced a project that has generated much concerns in the beginning, but through its vetting, we now have a project that has positive feedback with regards to its layouts and its phasing. So after a long timeline process, we're finally here. So tonight for your consideration is the request from Cornerstone Bible Church for their expansion project, seeking their formal application approvals. There are a number of applications with the project. There's a zone change, a conditional use permit, a development plan review, a tentative parcel map, and the project's related environmental CEQA. For the first item, zoning, here's a map that shows the site. Majority of the site is zoned R2, except for that one little house that's on the top left there. It is zoned R1. With the proposal, it would rezone the entire site, all their properties, to planned redevelopment, which is a Glendora zoning that allows a site-specific project planning. In this case, the project it would be the site's adopted zoning. So it would be able to create its own zoning and use charts, all of which are included with your ordinance. Separately, a new CUP or conditional use permit will cover the expanded campus. It will repeal and replace the previous CUP from 1996. It will set a new maximum capacity to 350 persons. And it will also designate the site-specific PR zoning that I talked about and its on-site parking and setbacks associated with that. Next would be the merger of the land parcels. The tentative parcel map would merge the site's 8 lots into one single lot, which is about 1.3 acres. Next, the district association. This is the site we all know. There are numerous addresses associated with the project because of the number of houses and structures on the site. So here they are for reference. Kind of another reference we all know. The iconic church is there on the top left that we all know. There are 3 structures that would remain as part of the project. That's the historic church on the corner church, the house at 420 Glendora, and then the corner house at 131 Whitcomb. And these are the 3 oldest that are on the site. These are 4 of the structures that there's actually 5 that will be removed. The project would be done in phasing. The first phase was the eastern half. It would demolish and remove the former houses and all their associated accessory structures. It would create one on-site parking lot area, and it would also leave the house in the corner and build a new storage building on the top right portion of the site. And that structure would be designed to look like a little house to integrate with the neighborhood. This is a visual that shows the eastern half demolition phase 1. And this is a site plan. Sorry for the error on the there. And the new structure is on the top right there, which is the new storage building. It looks like a house with a little front porch. This is a little bit better context to kind of see how the parking lot is with those 2 structures kind of being used as screens against the street. This is the storage shed, but you'd see that one with a little front porch that would be facing the street. This is the corner house that's being preserved. It will be restored and converted into for church office uses. And it was also being preserved as during all this process. It was revealed through some historical studies that it does have local historical significance and will be included on the historical registry as part of the process. But this is just the plans for all the restoration work for that. This is a view of showing what the church would look like from Vista Bonita, the new scene. The historic house that's being preserved is on the bottom on the left-hand side. The new church storage unit, the quasi house looking thing, is on the right, and you can kind of see in the background where all the new structures and how they're kind of hidden. The phase 2 of the project is the next phase. It would basically be removing everything on the western portion of the site except for the historical church. And it would be building the new structure itself, as well as some parking and play equipment areas. This is the area it's showing here. Kind of see how the new church sanctuary is situated now in the middle of the site, and it's kind of hidden from view. This is some drawings you probably can't read, but you can see the layout and design. This is the view from the other 2 street frontages to kind of show how that new sanctuary, while it's going to be a big structure, it's going to be 18,000, almost 19,000 square feet. It's going to be multi-level, but the majority of this, half the structure is going to be sunken underground in a subterranean area. So it will really be the massing of this new structure will not be dominate the site at all, but by its central location and its massing being halfway underground. The materials board for reference. And lastly, just to understand, parking was a big issue at the very beginning years of the project, where the neighbors really were concerned about having a surface parking lot all on the eastern corner of the site. The final design basically distributes parking throughout the site, the same required number even, but instead of having a parking lot fronting a neighborhood, they're using the historical house and that new storage shed that looks like a cottage as kind of a border to kind of shield it from and screening it from the neighborhood, and it kind of blends the parking with everything instead of having a large parking area, which is good. Parking is compliant with code as well. Notices were provided by mail and the newspaper, and also two signed boards were also placed on the site. Lastly, staff and the planning commission are recommending adoption of the CEQA document, the approving the project zone change, as well as the conditional use permit, development plan review, and tentative parcel map with the project. With that, I have no other input to provide. There's a number of church members that are here tonight, as well as project consultants that worked on the project over the years that are available for any questions if there are any.
Okay, appreciate it, Martin. Would anybody from the architect firm wish to speak? I know, Bruce, you put in a public comment, but at this point, I think it'd be appropriate for you to go ahead and come on up, and because as the applicant, you have the opportunity to share your thoughts as well.
Thank you, council members, for the privilege to share with you. The time that I wanted to take was actually just to make a public statement of gratitude to our neighbors. And if you allow me, I want to read their names that contributed to this project. Dan and Donna Eves, Linda and Ron Davidson, who are with us tonight, Don and Karen Doctor, Leslie Hefter, Michael and Jennifer Bolay, Chris and Donna Mahoney, Becky and Don Harris, and Karen and Dave Acevedo. And the specific things that I wanted to say was, if you go back to 2018 in April, we made a number of miscalculations that were insensitive and brought injuries to our neighbors. And what they did in regards to forgiving us and showing us such grace needs to be noted. And I wanted to publicly say thank you to them for that. In the coming days, they would not only forgive us, but invite us into their homes. They sat with us over the course of 14 months. And what you see before you is a contribution of their ingenuity, creativity, and support. Dan Eves, as an example, was a contractor, was the one that recommended the subterranean so that the new church facility would not overshadow the historic building that we're going to keep, as well as dominate the neighborhood. And Ron and Linda, it was mentioned that it was difficult to find the parking, and they had some very creative ideas of how we could resolve that. They were also very influential in sharing that we needed to keep what's now going to be called the Malcolm House there on the corner of Whitcomb and Vista Bonita. And it's something that we're all really pleased about, that it's going to keep the historical nature of our community, bring honor to those that were before, but it actually is going to be a great centerpiece for both ministry and contribution to the community. So those are just a few examples of what they did to help bring this to fruition. But I think even more so is just becoming friends with them and being able to know that we were there together in the community serving the city of Glendora. And last, I wanted to thank Mark Carnahan for all of his hard work and all of the people on his staff, particularly Mary Ann Marks. And I wanted to thank our church family for their patience and grace, and most of all for God and his goodness. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if there's no other, I will go ahead and open the public comment period of the hearing. Do we have any public comment cards?
We just had that one that I
Just from
handed
Bruce?
to you.
Okay,
We have no one on Zoom.
and there's nobody on Zoom wishing to speak?
No, Mayor.
Okay, well, I will close the public comment for this hearing and bring it back to council for any additional questions, conversations. Yes, Michael?
Gary, if it's okay, I would like to ask someone from the public to come on up, and if it's all right.
Sure. I don't.
Ron Davis, can you come on up, please? So the reason why I'm asking Ron to come up for is early on in the process, both sides had reached out and I met with Ron and his family and his neighbors, and we got both sides together. I just wanted to have some closure with what Bruce had just said and his kind words and how the process went for you moving forward and how you feel currently today.
I'll start with how I feel currently. I'm happy with how everything turned out. I think we followed what the Planning Commission ordered us to do, was basically, you guys need to get back to the table and figure this out. And I think that's what we did. I think both sides gave. We didn't get what we wanted 100%, and I don't think the church did either. So, and that was a good compromise. As far as the other neighbors, we're all happy with how it's going. I was talking to Bruce earlier. We're not looking forward to the demolition of everything, or I don't know, I don't want to insult any contractors here, but they can never stay on time. They'll say 2 months and that's 6 months. So, but we're all aware of that. And we're okay with that. The church and the neighbors have gotten into a really good relationship. You can keep on bringing the Halloween candy. That doesn't change. And the only reason I'm really standing out here is I made Michael hoof a bunch of purses around as a model. I have pictures if anybody wants to see it. But no, joking aside, no, it went really well. So I want to thank Bruce and the church. I think we worked out really well. It wasn't always positive. I think feathers were ruffled, but I think in the end we got to where we needed to be.
Great. Thank you so much. So, Mark, do we have a time frame for the phases?
So one of the encouraging things about where we're at is that in this particular development, it was decided to phase it into 2 different phases. And the first phase has been estimated at about $2.5 million, and we have raised all that money. So our intent is to move forward, complete that, and then begin fundraising. Since 1931, when the church was built, it has been debt-free. I had the privilege of knowing 4 of the charter members of the church, and we feel a responsibility not only for them, but for our church community to maintain that status. So our goal will be to raise the funds. And so depending upon how long that takes, we would then complete the second phase, which is the sanctuary and the subterranean part of that. So
when would phase 1 start?
So right now, once permits get approved, as soon as we can, so the drawings are all done, contracts have been hired, it's feasible that by February we could actually start the demolition phase and move through the construction, ideally by early summer. And then the second phase, which would be the actual church building, again, would be dependent upon how long it would take us to raise the funds.
Thank you very much. That's all the questions I have.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else? Mendel?
This is a great day, and I've known Pastor Bruce and Pastor Bob for a number of years. And I remember the day we set up at the eatery and talked about this many, many years ago. And I am thankful for how it's turned out and the process that you all have walked through. And this is a great place to, as we say, live, work, and play. But it's a great place to worship too. And for 92 years, your church has been a beacon of that experience for many, many folks. And I am so thrilled to be able to support this and support the hope and the help and the encouragement and that all of you give. So may God continue to bless you. And it's great that you've raised that. And I know that once the mess starts to happen, I'm sure that many, many more folks will, get excited and continue to, give and, get thing built. So, thank you. I've read just about every piece of this that we got, and you guys have done an excellent job. So, as I said, just best of luck, and keep up the good work. Pastor Bruce, this means you're going to be here for another decade or so, because you got to make sure it's built and continue. So I'm sure your people are going to be thrilled about that. So can't wait to come and ribbon cut and enjoy that day. So thank you.
Thanks. Karen?
I know this has been a labor of love for Bruce and Bob and everyone behind you. So congratulations on getting to this place. And this whole process is what community is all about. You have exemplified that. And so we thank you for being that example of people having differences of opinions, coming together with grace and working it out and coming to a compromise. So we'll expect you to lead every community meeting going forward to show folks what it means to be part of a community and to work together and to do it in a way that you can move forward. So thank you for setting that example, and nice work.
David?
Thank you. Congratulations to all of you. It's been a curious journey as I would travel the avenue and wander by and look at the signage and see signage on other parts of the property's plan, and went and did some homework to figure out, wow, what's really coming, and thought, oh, that's very ambitious. I did watch the planning meeting, which the presentation was much longer than this one, and I learned a great deal. And one of the things I learned is what the share was, that the neighborhood really did come together. Okay, the first plan didn't get it right, but everybody recognized that, but came to solution. What a remarkable success. And congratulations to the congregation families, the patience of the congregation. I'm sure they read and hear, oh, it's coming, but they stuck with you. And for the neighborhood to join in and contribute, what a remarkable success. So congratulations. I'm greatly in support and look forward to the process. If you can make the peacocks quiet at night, go for it.
Thanks,
you.
David. And I'm going to second Karen's motion to bring the church and the neighborhood in to advise the rest of us on how to work together to compromise to make things happen. Because I've been watching this happen, and I look forward, as some of you know, I walk by the church almost every day. So I will look forward to the next number of years. I'm walking by and seeing all the great changes. So if there's nothing else, I will go ahead and close the public hearing and then ask for a motion.
You have it, sir.
Of course I do. I still got the presentation up here. Okay, we got a motion by Mendel and a second by Michael, asking everybody to vote.
And I will conduct a roll call. Councilmember Elowis,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedendahl,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Thompson,
Yes.
Mayor Boyer.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0.
thank you. Okay, thanks, guys. Great job. I appreciate all the hard work everybody put into this. Okay, we move on to our consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar will be enacted by one motion without individual discussion unless somebody wishes to pull an item. Does anybody wish to pull anything? Okay, I do have a question on one item. Not necessarily wanting to pull it, but on item number 10, where we're increasing the funding for Louis Pompey Park, and it notes that we're moving funding from improvements at Gladstone Park. I was just wondering if we could get an update, or the things at Gladstone Park that are not going to get done that were part of the plans. I just want some clarification.
Yeah, so that was originally for the splash pad. We had budgeted 550,000, but since we can't do that right now with the drought, we figured let's move some of those funds to get the Louis Pompey finished and completely renovated, since we have other projects going on there. So if at some point the splash pad comes back around, can talk about that again.
Okay, perfect. Like I said, I just thought some people might be curious if there's
Yeah.
something at Gladstone that may not be getting done now.
Yeah, we do have other stuff planned for Gladstone in fiscal year 26. We do have the shade structure, like we have at Finkbeiner Park, in the CIP. So we are still planning to do stuff there.
Great, perfect. Appreciate it. Thank
Thank you.
Okay, so on the consent calendar, I got a motion by Karen and a second by Michael to approve consent calendar. If everyone would please vote.
And now I will conduct oral roll call. Councilmember Commissioner Alice.
Commissioner?
Yeah, Councilmember Alice.
Yes.
Councilmember for Davis.
Yes.
Councilmember Friedendahl.
Yes, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Thompson.
Yes.
Mayor Boyer.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we got item number 11. To approve an agreement with the Merrimack Petroleum Inc., DBA Merrimack Energy Group for bulk fuel services for gasoline and diesel in the amount of $452,000. Michael Sled to report. Welcome, Michael.
Good evening, y'all. As mentioned, I'm here to discuss awarding an agreement with Merrimack Petroleum for bulk fuel services. So Merrimack has provided fuel delivery services to the city since 1999. Fuel delivery contract pricing is set in relation to what is called rack or wholesale pricing, which is the price that the fuel distributors pay to suppliers for fuel when loading their trucks at various loading racks. In 2022, the city amended its agreement at that time with Merrimack to piggyback off of another agreement that Merrimack had entered with Huntington Beach, where pricing was based on low unbranded rack pricing, as opposed to the average rack pricing, which we were paying. The city anticipated that this would result in savings on fuel costs, with the only questions really being around the slightly different fees and discounts applied to the rack pricing under the agreements. Since that time, based on analyzing actual fuel usage and what costs would have been under the previous pricing, it is estimated the city has saved almost $20,000 in fuel expenses over the last 12 months. Given this, staff is recommending awarding a new 3-year agreement piggybacking off this same contract to guarantee us this pricing heading forward. And that concludes my presentation.
Michael, I'm just curious. Do you know the average price that we pay per gallon of these two fuels? I'm just
It's not a lot lower
yeah.
than retail necessarily, because there's various things that we like taxes and stuff that we have to pay anyways, but it tends to be lower. The price we were paying before is closer to what you would get at a fuel station compared to what we're getting now.
Okay.
And it varies every month. It's going to be different. So we pay like the price that's at rack pricing the day that we get it delivered. So, but average, sorry.
I mean, I just think people would like to feel that we're getting like a Sam's Club or a Costco price, because it's their tax dollars that are paying for this. So
we're actually getting lower than them. Be honest, I'm not really sure how the fuel distributor makes money on this, because this is there's a discount they take off that price that they pay when they pick it up at the rack that gets charged to us. So somehow they make money. But yeah, we're getting a good deal.
Well, good deal. Thank you.
Anybody else? Nope. We have a motion by Karen, a second by Michael. If everyone would please vote.
I'll now conduct oral roll call. Councilmember Alowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Davis.
Yes.
Councilmember Friedendahl.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Thompson.
Yes.
Mayor Boyer.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, appreciate it. Well, that brings us to the end of our agenda, and following up with closing comments from anybody on the council? No? No? Okay, well, I have one thing I want to bring up, and it's sort of a delicate subject, but I think everybody knows that, I have no intention of running for council again at the end of this term next November. But there's a subject that's been near and dear to my heart, and I think it's appropriate for me to bring it up. And the state legislature passed a bill this year, SB 329, that there has always been limits on the pay structure for city council members. And I got to say that as members of the public, you guys look up here and you see most councils are retired older people. And the reason for that is the time commitment and the cost to be a council member. It's pretty much a volunteer gig, and there's a lot of people that I've seen throughout the state that actually win an election and end up resigning because they can't afford to do the job. And the last time this was addressed was in 1984, and I don't know when the last time the Glendora City Council pay has been addressed, but I'd like to see us have an item on a future agenda for us to have this discussion. It's always sensitive when you're talking about giving yourself a pay raise. I feel I'm more comfortable to bring it up because I'm not going to be here at the end of this year, but it is important next year. It is important that we have the conversation so we can get more younger people involved, to make sure that it's not going to be a burden if younger people decide that they want to step up and sit in these seats. So I'd like to see that on a future agenda, if we can. Okay. Appreciate that. And then if there is nothing else, Adam, Bill, anything else? Okay. I will then adjourn our meeting at 7:56 in memory of Bob Veerhoff.